The topic is dialysis, and this class is for the BSc Nursing second year students. So, we have already discussed about this topic in the class. This is a revision class for all of you. So, uh, introduction of the dialysis. Dialysis comes from the Greek words, namely di and the lysis. It means splitting or separating the materials through a membrane. So as you all know, dialysis को we also say artificial kidney because it performs the functions of the kidney. So basically all those who are having the kidney failure, who are in the process of uh, uh, who are having acute kidney injury, who are having renal failure, in those clients, in those patients, the dialysis is done. And why dialysis, what is the meaning of dialysis? It means splitting or separating the materials through a membrane. So in the dialysis, a membrane is used, and through this membrane the materials are separated out, which does not required in our body. So kidney also perform the same function. The kidneys will filter out all the waste products of the body. So the kidneys have a specialized functional units called the nephrons, and these nephrons are helpful in removing the waste products. Similarly, dialysis, in the procedure of dialysis, we are using a membrane which is separating out these materials which are harmful for the body. So it is the exchange of fluid across a semi-permeable membrane. This membrane is a semi-permeable in nature. It means it will allow only some particular particles, some particular materials, and then it will not allow all the materials. So this membrane, it is semi permeable in nature, and through this membrane the exchange of the fluid occurs. So what is the definition of dialysis? The definition of dialysis is that it is not limited to the filtration of kidneys and the removal of nitrogenous wastes from the blood, but also include the addition or the removal of the excess of water electrolytes from the blood. So when we define the dialysis, it is the procedure which do the filtration of blood. Um Filtration of blood means the blood is filtered, the blood's waste products are removed. The nitrogenous wastes are removed, like ammonia, urea, creatinine, uric acid. These are removed from the blood. Also there is the removal of the excess water from the blood, and also the electrolytes which are excessive in amount, they are also removed from the blood. So this is the definition of dialysis. Now what are the indications? We can remember the indications of the dialysis by the acronym AEIOU. All the vowels are in it. So A means acidosis. So when the person is having metabolic acidosis in which the pH is below the 7.35, so in those cases we will be we should the dialysis is performed. Then electrolytes, when there is a electrolyte imbalance in the body, for example the person is having hyperkalemia, hyperphosphatemia, or hypocalcemia, in those conditions dialysis is done. Then ingestion means person is taking a drug or insecticides in the excessive amount, overdose of a drug takes place, mostly salicylates, like aspirin overdose. In those cases dialysis is done. Then overload means fluid overload, in which your kidneys are unable to filter out the excess volume of fluid from the blood, and that's why the body is having fluid overloaded, and in those cases the dialysis is done. And then uremia, in which blood urea nitrogen levels are excessive, which are more than the normal levels are the 7 to 20 milligram per deciliter, right? So when they are more than the 20 milligram per deciliter, then it will be the indication of the dialysis. So basically we are performing dialysis in the cases of metabolic acidosis, in the cases of poisoning, in the cases of electrolyte imbalances, when there is a fluid overload and the person is having uremia, and basically the kidneys are not working properly. In those cases we are performing the dialysis. Now we can also learn these indications as acute renal failure, acute and chronic renal failure, the poisoning, especially the salicylates poisoning, then severe metabolic acidosis, hyperkalemia, and the fluid overload. So these are the indications. Now the types of dialysis, as you already know, these are hemodialysis and the peritoneal dialysis. So what is hemodialysis? It is a type of dialysis in which artificial membrane is used, right? So in the hemodialysis machine we have a dialyzer, and this dialyzer is made up of a cellulose or the synthetic material, and this act as a semi permeable membrane. And why it is called hemodialysis? Because this machine is in contact with the patient's blood, that's why it is called the hemodialysis. Okay, next one is peritoneal dialysis. As you all know, the peritoneal membrane will be act as a semi permeable membrane for the filtration of the waste products. So in those cases the peritoneal dialysis is used. Okay, so we have two types of dialysis, hemo and the peritoneal dialysis. In the hemodialysis, the dialyzer is used in which there is a semi permeable membrane which is made up of cellulose. In the peritoneal dialysis, peritoneal membrane is used. Now this is the image showing a person who is undergoing the hemodialysis. You can see there is a hemodialysis machine and there is the dialyzer, and this is in contact with the patient blood by using any catheter, any fistula, any graft. We will learn about these in the next slides. Then this is the peritoneal dialysis image in which there is a dialysate solution and it is infused in the peritoneal cavity by using a peritoneal catheter, and then it will remain there for a specific period of time. Then it will be drained out into the bag, drainage bag. So this is the peritoneal dialysis in which peritoneal membrane is used. Now there are three most important principles of the dialysis. These are diffusion, osmosis, and the ultrafiltration. These principles are used when the dialysis procedure takes place. Okay, so diffusion, it is basically the solutes like the in the blood there is excessive amount of urea, creatinine, uric acid, or potassium, or phosphates, or so in those cases these solutes are in excessive amount. So from the blood to the dialyzer they will be filtered out. So the solutes have moved from the area of greater concentration. In the blood they are in the greater concentration because kidney is not functioning properly. So in the blood these nitrogenous waste products will be more. The urea will be more, the creatinine will be more, the uric acid will be more, the electrolytes composition, the levels will be more. So diffusion will takes place, and from the blood these will diffuse into the dialyzer machine. Okay, so this is the diffusion. Now in the osmosis is the procedure in which there is a movement of the fluid from an area of greater concentration to the lower concentration. Similarly, because kidneys are not functioning properly, in the blood there is the fluid overload. The person is undergoing the hypervolemia condition. So in the hypervolemia condition the fluid will move from the blood to the dialyzer machine, or in this way the person will blood volume will be normalized. So this is the principle of osmosis. In the diffusion the solutes are moved, but in the osmosis the solvent is moved, and it is from the greater concentration to the low concentration. Now in the ultrafiltration, it results when there is an osmotic gradient or pressure gradient across the membrane. So ultrafiltration basically using the gradient thing when there is a difference in the osmotic pressure, or there is a difference in the pressure. Okay, pressure gradient. So this is the image which is showing the ultrafiltration. In the middle there is a ultrafiltration membrane, and the molecules are shifting from left to the right. Why? Because there is a pressure gradient. In this way the ultrafiltration takes place. There is a pressure gradient leading to the movement of solutes from higher pressure to the lower pressure. So this is the ultrafiltration principle. Now in this class we will discuss about the peritoneal dialysis, and in the next class we will discuss about the hemodialysis. So peritoneal dialysis, what is the definition of the peritoneal dialysis? It is the process of instillation of dialysate into the peritoneal cavity then allowing time for substance exchange and then removal of the dialysate. So it is the process in which dialysate is installed into the peritoneal cavity. Then it will be remain there for a specific period of time, and during this time the substances will be exchanged from the blood, in which there is the urea, creatinine, ammonia is increased from the blood capillaries. It will diffuse into the peritoneal membrane, and after that, when there is a diffusion, when there is a osmosis, where there is a ultrafiltration process takes place, this will cause the normalized levels of these nitrogenous wastes in the blood, and excessive amount of these nitrogenous wastes in the peritoneal fluid, and after that it will be removed from the peritoneal cavity. So this is the definition of peritoneal dialysis. Now, what are the indications? The indications are acute renal failure, chronic renal failure. Second indication is severe cardiovascular disease. It means the person is having cardiovascular disease, and when you are putting it into hemodialysis, the person's uh, hemodynamic parameters like pulse rate, the blood pressure, the person is having cardiovascular problems. So, in that cases, we use the peritoneal dialysis. Then if the person is with the bleeding tendencies, means the person, because we are using anticoagulant in the dialysis, in the hemodialysis, so because of that, there may be, the person may bleed easily, and the person is having hemophilia. So in that cases, the blood, there is a problem in the blood coagulation. So in those cases we generally avoid hemodialysis and prefer the peritoneal dialysis. Then those who are having poor vascular access, and it makes them inappropriate for the dialysis. So basically for the hemodialysis we require the vascular access, right? We require fistula, we require graft, we require catheters. So if the person is unsuitable and there is no any vascular access, we need to go for the peritoneal dialysis. Then for small children and the elderly, then patients with the severe hemodynamic instability on the hemodialysis. So when we are putting the patients on the hemodialysis, their hemodynamic parameters are becoming unstable. It means their blood pressure is either they are getting hypertensive or hypotensive, then they are having tachycardia or bradycardia, or they are having palpitations, they are starting palpitation, they are having severe muscle contractions. So in those cases we generally avoid the hemodialysis and prefer the peritoneal dialysis. Now, what are the contraindication in which cases we can't perform the peritoneal dialysis? First is severe abdominal wall cellulitis. So the person is having bacterial infection of the abdominal wall, and because we need to insert the peritoneal catheter for the peritoneal dialysis, we can't perform this procedure, those who are having the cellulitis, because it will further complicate the scene, and the person will be more prone for having the infection, and the person condition may deteriorate. Then the presence of colostomy, ileostomy, nephrostomy is the contraindication. Then severe neurologic disease, the person can't follow the order, or the person is having nervous disorder, there is a movement disorder, or the person is having severe arthritis and the person is unable to perform the self care. Then if the person is having peritonitis, we can't perform. Then person is having any abdominal or the chest surgery or any trauma, so the obviously this procedure will complicate all these things, and that's why there is a need to avoid in those cases. Then bowel distension, then respiratory insufficiency, because we are instilling dialysate solution into the peritoneal cavity, the person's peritoneal cavity will be increased, right? The diameter, the abdominal circumference will be increased. This peritoneal fluid which is accumulated in the peritoneal cavity will pressurize the lungs, and this will lead to the respiratory insufficiency. So that's why in those cases we avoid the peritoneal dialysis. Now, this is the solution bag in which there is a dialysate. Then, from the dialysate, it is attached to the peritoneal catheter. This catheter is introduced into the peritoneal cavity. The dialysate is started, and then it is going from the solution bag to the peritoneal cavity. Then, after a certain period of time, it will be removed into the drainage bag. Now there are three phases in the PD cycle, peritoneal dialysis cycle. There are three phases. First one is inflow, in which 2 liter solution over 10 minutes is filled. Then there is the dwell or the equilibrium. It means it can range from 20 to 30 minutes. It means half an hour to 8 hours or more. And for that time, it will be remain in the peritoneal cavity only. Then there will be drain. It may go from 15 to 30 minutes. And for facilitating the drainage of this peritoneal fluid, there is a we can also perform this abdominal massage, or we can change the position of the patient after every 5 to 7 minutes, so that this drain can be easily drain out. Okay. So in the PD cycle there are three phases. There is the inflow, there is the dwell, and there is the drain. This is the peritoneal catheter. Now, what are the important thing that needs to keep in mind when you're performing the peritoneal catheter or peritoneal dialysis? First of all, the dialysate which you are using, that should be warmed, and so that the person chilling can be prevented. Also, because the dialysate, if it is warm, it will dilate the blood vessels also, and when the blood vessels are dilated, there will be easy facilitation of the peritoneal dialysis procedure. Now, what are the types of the peritoneal dialysis? Automated, continuous, ambulatory, intermittent, and the nightly intermittent. So, automated peritoneal dialysis, you can see here there is a machine which is automated peritoneal dialyzer, and the person is attaching the peritoneal catheter to this machine. So, basically, it is a automated device, and the name is cycler, and it will deliver the dialysate. It will deliver the dialysate at a particular time, in which the person will set what is the dwell time, what is the fill time, and what is the drain time. So it will be automatically performing according to the set time period of three phases. Okay. And generally it is used in the night so that the person can easily sleep, and the automated peritoneal dialysis takes place. This cycles 4 or more exchanges per night with 1 to 2 hour gap between the exchanges. Then continuous ambulatory peritoneal dialysis, it is performed every few hours during the day. It is continuous. So for example, it will be like it will be started means 7 a.m, then 12 noon, then 5 p.m, then 10 p.m. So basically 2 liter peritoneal dialysate 4 times daily, and the dwell time is approximately 4 hours. Then in the intermittent, there is a 10 to 14 hours 3. It is done intermittently, so it is done 3 to 4 times a week, and each exchange is for the 10 to 14 hours. And if it is nightly intermittent, it will be at night 8 to 12 hours it will be done. Now, what are the complications of this peritoneal dialysis? So, in which there is a peritoneal catheter, so there may be a infection in that at that site by Staphylococcus aureus or the epidermiditis. Then peritonitis can be there, which is the inflammation of the peritoneum. Then hernia can occur because the peritoneal fluid which you are administering into the peritoneal cavity, that will cause pressure to your peritoneal organs also. So there may be This pressure may cause the formation on the hernia. Okay, then lower back pain may occur because the peritoneal dialysis, the person may needs to be remain in the Fowler's low Fowler's position. So low back pain may occur if the person, this is for the long lasting duration. Then pulmonary complications, because there may be respiratory insufficiency can occur. So that's why. Then catheter related complication means the catheter may be displaced or it may be obstructed. Now, what are the nursing responsibilities when there is a procedure of peritoneal dialysis? First, before dialysis, get the informed consent. Then check the site for the signs of infection, in which you will assess for any pus drainage, then any redness. The person may have some fever. So check the vital sign, weigh the patient, what is the weight of the patient. Then perform baseline assessment like cardiovascular, respiratory, and the abdominal. Check for whether the person, what is the heart rate of the person, what is the blood pressure of the person is having any respiratory difficulty or not, the peritoneal there are any sign and symptoms of peritonitis or not. Then empty the bladder so that the person may feel relaxed during the whole procedure, and uh, the need of voiding during the procedure may be avoided. Then check the lab values. Then in the lab values, we generally check for the blood urea, creatinine, sodium, potassium, phosphate, calcium, and ammonia levels, right? Then assemble the equipment at the bedside. During dialysis, take pulse BP every 15 minutes during the first exchange, and thereafter every hour take the vital signs. Then strict intake output should be done. Then promote the patient comfort by frequent back care. So during the procedure, you can provide back care to the person so that the person may feel comfortable. Then change the position. Documentation is very important. Time and date of date of the procedure, means the date of the procedure and when the procedure was started. Then how much dialysate was administered. Then exact time of the each phases. Then what is the output of the dialysate, how much volume of dialysate is uh, exchanged, what is the intake and the what is the output. Then also check for the color and the volume of the dialysate. Then monitor for respiratory distress, abdominal pain. Now after dialysis, you can send sample also to check whether the blood KFT is normalized or not, and then watch for any complications. These complications we have already discussed. So this was all about the peritoneal dialysis. In the next class we will discuss about the hemodialysis. Thank you so much.